What is up, everybody? This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I am here with another edition of your favorite Premier Madden League series following the San Francisco 49ers called Gold Rush. Now, this is, I believe, episode 3. Unfortunately, we ran into some technical difficulties on this episode. Had a trouble with the stream, and I did not have my game recorded. So, unfortunately, I don't have highlights this episode. So, basically, it's going to, what we're going to do is going to go over the stats of the game, and then we're going to look into our next week matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So first, let's go into some of the stuff that's popped up in week 3, first week for negotiations, and we already tried to negotiate with Fred Warner, as you can see here. We offered a contract, but unfortunately the contract length is good, but that's it. So what that means is basically he wants more money. He liked the length of the contract. He just needs more bonus or in annual salary. So next week we'll dive into that. We definitely want to bring him back. He's going to be a focal point of our defense, pretty much a cornerstone. Him and Nick Bosa are the two real unmovable players there, as well as Kinlaw. I really like Kinlaw. But I think I'll have him throughout the series without having to re-sign him. So we'll look into the future with that. Another guy we have is Raheem Mostert. He is up at the end of the season. He's 29 years old. He does have the superstar dev trait. And as you know, we are looking at Ty Chandler as the back for the future for this team. But you look at the speed, 95 speed, 94 acceleration. We'll look at his player card right here. I mean, he's got great stats. I mean, it would be tough to let him go. I haven't fully decided if we're going to let him go. Maybe we franchise tag him as a sign and trade, and then we trade him away, because I think he's got way too much value to just let walk. We'll take a look at our cap when that comes, and we'll see exactly what we do there. But I think the franchise tag is the way to go here. He wants 4 years after this season, so he wants to play throughout his age 33 season. Who knows how much he'll regress by then, so I'm definitely not trying to give him 4 years. But we'll see exactly what happens with Raheem Mostert. Having his abilities and his speed is definitely dangerous. I can't wait until he's back in the lineup. Him and Ty Chandler along with James Conner. Maybe I could have a 3-back rotation going. Right now it's basically Ty Chandler and then James Conner and Jerick McKinnon on third down. But I would love to have Raheem Mostert, especially with that speed, to make other users think twice. But that's pretty much it for negotiations right now. As you can see, others are coming up soon. But those two, Mostert, I'm going to wait until I could franchise tag him, and Fred Warner, I'm going to see if I could sign him next week. He didn't take the first offer. So let's jump into, we could scout players, but I don't think the draft is up yet. I don't think he has anything imported as of yet, but I couldn't tell you because I'm not that informed when it comes to NCAA and stuff like that, so I couldn't tell you. But let's jump into the box score for our game against the Arizona Cardinals, and unfortunately it wasn't a great one. As you can see, he led with offensive rush yards, almost had 200. We had more passing yards, but that did not matter. As you can see, 6 turnovers. 3 turnovers for me, 0 turnovers for him. So the turnover was differential for us was a -3, and you know half the battle is winning that turnover differential, especially when it comes to Madden. And you take a look at the other stats. Time of possession absolutely controlled me the whole way. I only had 13 minutes time of possession. He had 26 minutes and 22 seconds. So that basically tells you that he controlled the clock, and he wasn't getting big chunks, but he was moving the chains. So basically, I was getting him into third down situations. He'd get a first down. So my third down defense was not the greatest. As you can see, he had 6 third down conversions, and I had 3. So our third down defense was definitely not good that whole game. Let's take a look at the player stats. Kyler Murray had 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, so a solid game from him. He'd even get sacked once. Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a decent game, but as you can see, he had the 3 interceptions, but he had 313 yards passing, and then 56 percentage on the completions. Then you take a look at the rushing. Ty Chandler, our boy right there, he had 11 rushes for 38 yards. Excuse me, for 38 yards and 1 touchdown. So as you can see, he regressed heavily. Well, not regressed, but his statistics dropped heavily from his last game. He had 30 rushes for 237 yards. This game, he could not find anything. Only 3.5 yards per carry in that 1 TD. And then Nyheim Hines was the man of the hour when it came to rushing the ball. As you can see, he had 28 attempts for 126 yards. 4.5 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. So you could see he wasn't really hitting us for big chunks. I think he had some garbage rushing yards towards the end too. But he wasn't really hitting us for big chunks. He was gaining 3 to 4 yards every play. And then when he needed to pass it, he was finding drags underneath and Nyheim Hines out the backfield, and that really kept the chains going. As you can see, our star wide receiver for the game is John Vay Johnson. So that's 3 straight games he at least has 1 touchdown. This game he had 4 receptions, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he has 4 touchdowns on the season. And we'll look at his overall stats. But another good game from him. David Njoku got into the action. He had 2 receptions for 73 yards. And as I said, he kept hitting the backs and drag routes. Hitting the backs out of the backfield, and then he had some drag routes with Ricky Seals-Jones. I think he had a throw or 2 to his fullback. Forgot who his fullback is. It might be Charlie Kohler, to be honest. I think he has a tight end as his fullback. But as you can see, a lot of short stuff from him. You take a look at his stats: seven receptions for 62 yards on top of the 128 he got on the ground. 8.9 yards per reception. Ricky Seals-Jones, he had about 18 yards per reception, 3 receptions for 54 yards. So he got us with a couple. He got us with a long one, I believe. The long was 23. So I mean, he hit us with a couple of drags, and then I think he hit us with a couple of crossers. So his offense wasn't. I'm looking for the word. His offense, I'm not gonna say it wasn't developed. His offense just wasn't anything crazy. He didn't do anything crazy the whole time. It was basically run the ball, hit underneath stuff, just move the chains, and that was chains, and that was his goal the whole time. And he actually did that. So shout out to him getting that done. So I can't really hate it. It led to a win. So that's for sure. Then you take a look. We had no sacks from our defense. The only sack came from Jordan Phillips, and that was on his side. So no sacks for us. As you saw, no interceptions for us, but he had 3. One from Patrick Peterson, Buda Baker, and then Javelin Goudry, I believe. But yeah, defense didn't show up. Offense barely showed up towards the end. He was up 2 scores with under 5 minutes to go, under 4 minutes to go. I think I scored right before the 2-minute warning, and so he was up 3 scores. I scored right before the 2-minute warning to be down only 2 scores. Then I was able to stop him within a 2-minute warning, but I used most of my timeouts. I scored, and then I tried an onside kick, and he got the onside kick, and that was the end of the game. So, we'll take our loss. We're 2-1 on the season. Now we're gonna jump into week 4. Week 4 is gonna be up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we're gonna take a look at them. But first, I want to take a look at some of our stats throughout the season. So we take a look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He's having a decent year, especially look at his rating, 94.7. But he is averaging a interception per touchdown, so he's got a 1-for-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He has 710 yards. He has 60% passing completions percentage. So it's not a terrible year from him. He's having a decent year. I just gotta watch those turnovers. Ty Chandler, 51 attempts, 305 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns. As you know, most of that yardage came from that Seahawks game. 237 yards of that 305 came just from the Seahawks. So that's where a bulk of his carries are coming from, and that's basically been the only Russian attack we've had so far. James Conner's only seen the ball twice. Maybe he's somebody we get going a little more. He's got great power rushing ability, so maybe we get some heavy sets next game against the Jacksonville Jaguars and try to control the clock like we got the clock controlled on us this last game. Then you take a look at receiving. John Vay Johnson has been a great addition to the team. 8 receptions, 269 yards, 4 touchdowns. Then you take a look at Deebo Samuel, who's having a solid year with 9 receptions, 150 yards, and then 3 touchdowns. The one guy in the whole lineup, David Njoku, 4 receptions, 88 yards. Stepping in for the injured George Kittle, who got injured in week 1. So it's been 2 straight games of just David Njoku, no George Kittle. Then you take a look at Mike Williams, 2 receptions, 19 yards in 3 games. We traded for him in the offseason. We wanted him, we went and got him, but we haven't included him in the offense. I don't know exactly why. Maybe that's something we need to look at more often. Someone we want to get going. I am going to move him to the slot because he does have a ability that helps him against linebackers, matchup nightmare. So receivers with this ability make sharper cuts and frequently win contested catches when covered by linebackers and linemen. So basically, I'm going to put him in the slot. Maybe I get more matchups against linebackers, especially when it comes to a big package like a 4-3-3-4, and he's trying to stop the run, so he's staying big the whole time. So he has to match up a linebacker on Mike Williams, or maybe a safety. So I would have to pay attention to that. But Mike Williams is somebody we want to get going. We take a look at our defense. Nick Bosa didn't have a great game last game. He did not get injured, and he played throughout the whole game. And he did not have a sack, but through 3 weeks, he already has 4 sacks. So the other 2 really well. Even when he got injured during halftime, I believe last week, he had 1 sack against the Seahawks before he got injured. And then Randy Gregory has been the other guy getting to the quarterback, but he only has 1 sack in 3 games. Then we have a half a sack here from our linebackers. So we're not getting a lot of pass rush thus far. It's only been Nick Bosa, so we need somebody on the other side to add some pass rush. Maybe we start the rookie over Randy Gregory, or actually we just signed somebody new. That's gonna bring me to the guy we just signed actually, and I gotta make a cut. So let's go back over to our main screen. So we got to cut 1 player, and the sign we made was for, I'm going to go over to him right now. Who knows if he's going to be a good addition, but we signed Deion Jordan, who's got better block shed than Randy Gregory. So Randy Gregory has got better pass rush stats. If you take a look here. So he's athletic. He's got 83 speed, 87 acceleration. You look at his block shed, it's only 67. His play recognition is 69. And you take a look at his block shed, if it shows it. Unfortunately, it's not. No, his block shed is 67. What did I want to see? I believe his finesse moves. So his finesse moves at 81, and then his power moves at 64. So as you can see, the pass rush is good with the 81 finesse moves, but he doesn't have good block shedding, so he's going to get gashed up on the run. So anybody that goes up against him, if you run to his side, most likely you're going to get a lot of yardage. And that was apparent last game, I believe. He saw Nick Bosa, and he stood away from Nick Bosa and ran towards Randy Gregory most of the time. And I probably should have shaded more bodies over to Randy Gregory's side, knowing that. But you take a look at Deion Jordan. He is a better run stopper, not much better, but you take a look, 77 block shed, plus 10 from the 67, but he does have a 67 play recognition, so that will hurt a little bit. Honestly, I don't know about play recognition when it comes to linemen. I know when it comes to linebackers and stuff, they could get fooled on the play action. When it comes to linemen, I don't know exactly how much it factors in. But you take a look at his speed, 82 speed, 87 acceleration, so we're not losing a lot of speed if we go with him. We are losing some pass rush. As you can see, he only has 71 finesse moves instead of compared to the 81 that Randy Gregory has. So he's an option. Or the other option is not as athletic but has better balance of the both, and it comes from Justice Reed. He has more speed, but he doesn't have as much acceleration or agility. And as you can see, the block shedding is 75, the power moves is 77, and then the play recognition is 65, and he doesn't have really good strength at 72. But he's more of a balanced option if I want to go with him, the rookie. That could be an option. Eric Armstead is not an option because I have him in the middle of the line. He's playing that one of those defensive tackles in the 4-3. Could I go with somebody else? Maybe DJ Jones. We'll take a look at DJ Jones real quick. So you take a look at DJ Jones, 87 strength, pretty good block shed, I believe. Where was it? No, 71 block shed. I apologize. 71 block shed. That's not really good at all. He's got decent play recognition, good tackling, good acceleration, decent mobility, good hip power and pursuit. Just it doesn't seem like he does one thing really well. He's got decent power moves, decent block shedding, but it seems like he could get definitely picked on in the run game. So I don't think he would be an option there. So I have a decision to make when it comes to the defensive line, especially if we're going up against running teams. It honestly hasn't been too crazy. I mean, the guys aren't gashing us, but we got to make sure we're getting stops to have them second guess running the ball. So if we get a couple big stops early in the game and really focus on stopping that run, maybe he starts throwing it, and that's when it leads into user error and interceptions and stuff like that. But let's take a look. We're going to take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we got next week. They're 3-0, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to go look at the stats, but I think they're 3-0. They're having a really good start to the season. They beat the Dolphins. Forgot who else they beat, but they've been performing really, really well. As you can see, they drafted Trevor Lawrence, and he's already up to an 83. I forgot what his overall was when he started, but he's already up to 83, 94 throw power, 89 short accuracy, 88 medium accuracy, 82 deep accuracy. I mean, he is a solid stud, and he's got good speed as well, so he can get outside the pocket and hurt you. So he's got Trevor Lawrence, and then you look at his running backs. He's got TJ Logan and Travis Etienne. 91 speed, 92 acceleration. I mean, a good solid back, and I believe he's good out of the backfield. 66 catch. Nothing crazy out of the backfield. Kind of an average back when it comes to attacking you out of the backfield, but a solid back nonetheless. Maybe running is not something we focus on this week. Maybe we just focus on his pass game and force him to run the ball, because when it comes to the running backs, I don't think he's got anything crazy to hurt us. But then you look at my team, and we don't got anything crazy right now with Ty Chandler or James Conner or Jerick McKinnon. You take a look at his wide receivers, though. He's got a couple studs in wide receivers. He's got Cooper Kupp on one end, and then he's got DJ Chark Jr. on the other end. DJ Chark is definitely the guy he goes to. He's got really good speed, really good athletic ability, along with his great catching ability, 96, 87 catching traffic, 91 spectacular catch. Same thing with Cooper Kupp, not as much athleticism, only 88 speed, but he still has very good catching ability. Great route running, 93 short route, 95 medium route, and then 85 deep route. And great release from both of them. So, I mean, both these guys are dangerous and on the outside. And then you look at D.D. Westbrook, who could hurt you at any point. Then he's got Laviska Shenault Jr. Nothing crazy with him. Good catch in traffic, mainly a slot guy just based on his stats and his size. He's got Colin Johnson as well. I mean, he's got a lot of wide receivers that could hurt you. He's got a lot of wide receivers. You take a little look at his tight end. Doesn't have a crazy good tight end to hurt you. Maybe Darrell Daniels could definitely hurt you with his speed and his athleticism. But you take a look at Greg Olsen, kind of a security blanket type of guy, possession catch type of guy. I mean, we can't totally knock Greg Olsen. He is an 82 overall, and that's great catching ability. So we can't just throw him aside. I mean, I think focusing on his passing attack is something that we'll do this week when it comes to defensively. You take a look at his offensive line. He's got a good left tackle. You take a look at his left guard. He's so far so good with his offensive line. Then he's got Jawan Taylor as his center. Kind of odd, but he is 6'5", so I get it. He's got a big offensive line so far all throughout. Then you take a look at his right guard. Drops off there, 73, and then a 72 right tackle. So we might want to focus on keeping Nick Bosa on the side of the right tackle, but then again, maybe keep Nick Bosa on this side with the right tackle, and then have Eric Armstead on the left tackle. How's his run blocking? Pretty solid run blocking. Pretty solid run block from the left guard as well. So I could see a lot of running to the left side, avoiding the right side. So I don't know if I'm going to put my stars on the left side and play power against power, or put it on the right side and hope my lesser guys win against their really good old linemen, and just hope my stronger guys win against their rookies on the right side of the offensive line. Then you take a look at his defense. You got Taven Bryan, pretty good pass rush, I believe, with him. Yeah, 92 power moves, 71 finesse move. So he definitely could get back to the quarterback. Then you take a look at his right end. He's got Josh Allen, so he's got a good defensive line so far. I think this team overall is going to be solid. 95 finesse move. Block shed's only 76, so I don't think I should be scared running at him. But when it comes to the pass rush, I should be scared at both Taven Bryan and Josh Allen. Taven Bryan doesn't have great block shed too at 77. Then you take a look at his defensive tackles. He has Akeem Hicks, who's solid, 92 block shed, so he's gonna shed blocks like a maniac. 94 power moves. I mean, he's got a stud defensive line, and based on what it looks like, it's gonna be a 3-4 that I'm playing. I think Josh Allen and mainly Josh Allen is a 4-3 defensive lineman. Instead of a 3-4, but based on what it looks like, it might be a 3-4 defensive line, just based on the defensive tackles he has. But maybe he is running a 4-3. I mean, the second defensive tackle isn't nothing to scoff at. 87 block shed, so I mean, he's good against the run. I mean, running up the middle doesn't seem like a go-to in this game, that's for sure. Then you take a look at the left outside linebacker. He's got Myles Jack, who's got good speed. He's got good zone coverage, 86 zone coverage. I don't know if that's who he uses. I think he uses a safety based on what I watched so far. Then you took a look at his middle linebacker. He's got Joe Schobert, I believe he got from the Browns, 83 speed. So nothing crazy there. Pretty good pursuit with 89. So he's a good run stopping linebacker. I think Myles Jack is as well. I mean, he's got a solid linebacking core. Then he's got Bud Dupree on the other end, just an athlete. I don't even think he got Bud Dupree to fill a need, because Bud Dupree is more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, more of a pass rush. But he does have decent zone coverage at 62, so he kind of could do both. When I say decent, I mean I was expecting worse, like something like this left end here who has 53. So he's up to 62 when it comes to zone coverage. So he's not terrible, but he's extremely athletic, decent pursuit, okay block shed. So Bud Dupree is more of a 3-4 linebacker in my eyes, but I think he's got him in a 4-3, and with that height and that speed and the overall size of him and jumping ability, he's a freak athlete. So I think he could fit in a 4-3, especially as a user. You take a look at his cornerbacks. He's got a lot of speed out there. Not a lot of size from Chris Claybrooks. So if I see a man-on-man with Mike Williams, I might highball this. But he's got a lot of speed to cover Deebo Samuel and John Vay Johnson and on the outside. So I don't expect a lot of deep shots. Then you take a look at his free safety. He's got Mike Hilton. Nothing crazy here. He is a really good safety, but no crazy speed. Decent pursuit. His block shed is terrible. He's more of a zone type of guy, zone and man coverage. So he's more of a coverage safety, not a run stuffing safety. Then you take a look at his strong safety. He's got a rookie in Kyle Hemby, 86 speed. So he's pretty slow, but he's got Josh Jones, who's decently fast. Hemby's got good zone coverage, and his pursuit is terrible. So he's got a lot of coverage in the backfield, especially with those safeties. We'll take a look at his third down running back, Etienne. Then his power running back is P. Ryan. Yeah, I mean, who's going to be lining up in the slot for him? Cooper Kupp with that short route running. I could see it. His sub linebackers, Bud Dupree and then Miles Jack. Not surprised there. But yeah, so based on what I've seen from this Jaguars team, yeah, he's got a good defensive and offensive line. Not a lot of holes in this team at all. I mean, he's got a really solid team. I wonder what the overall is. I wonder if I could see the overall. I don't think I can. But he's got a pretty solid team. Definitely gonna have to think about how I could go up against that. Maybe run at those defensive ends, run to the outside. But then he's got the speed at linebacker to chase me down. So it's gonna be a tough one. But we definitely don't want to drop to 2-2. Right now we're tied. I'm gonna look at the standings right now, and not the schedule, the standings. So we're going to take a look at the standings right now. Right now we're tied with Arizona at 2-1 for the division lead. Both the Seahawks and the Rams are 0-2, and I believe the Seahawks are getting a forced win against the Rams. I think they tried to play and they ran into that glitch. Let's go over to the NFC West. So 2-1. As you can see, points for 90, 87 points against, so we're barely beating teams. Cardinals have the biggest point differential in the division. Division wins. I'm 1-1. He's 2-0. All right. Let's take a look. I wanted to take a look at the AFC North, I believe. No, not the AFC North. AFC South. That's what I'm looking for. See, yeah, Jaguars 3-0 so far. 95 points for, 71 points against. So my LAN cable just dropped on me, so I lost connection to the server. My power just went out momentarily, so that's pretty much gonna wrap up this episode. We're having a little storm over here, so not a surprise that my power went out momentarily. But that's pretty much gonna do it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the episode. I'm sorry about the highlights. I honestly didn't even have music on this. I might edit some music in. But next week, I'm going to have it recorded. I'm going to have highlights. It'll be back to normal. Just ran into a little issue this week. Unfortunately, the guy I played to, when he streams, he has... it's Gooseneck Gamer if you want to check him out. But when he streams, he has his... face cam. He has all his commands above and below his face cam, so it would have been a really messy highlight to bring onto the show. So I decided just to say no highlights this week. We're gonna go ahead and look into our future matchup and look into the box score, and next week we'll get back to it. But thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, leave a comment. We'll be back next week. We'll be back to normal, and I'll have some highlights for you. But I am